Hello, hello, choo choo. Welcome to the Tabletop Express, and we have a train game today. I'm here with John, my friend John.
Hello, you don't have a European accent.
No, that's right because this is Ticket to Ride Europe 15th Anniversary Edition. Now, a lot of you in this board gaming hobby may have played Ticket to Ride already. This is really more so to get yourself familiar with the base rules, but also get you to know the differences between base Ticket to Ride, Europe Ticket to Ride, and more importantly, know all the variants that come in this 15th Anniversary Edition. The Ticket to Ride 15th Anniversary Edition recently came out. Ticket to Ride Europe 15th Anniversary Edition recently came out, and it encompasses Ticket to Ride base game, Ticket to Ride Europe 1912, which is a card expansion, as well as the Ticket to Ride Orient Express promo expansion and an additional promo card. I'm going to go through all of that. But yeah, I think we're ready to teach Ticket to Ride Europe. And just like all our live teaches, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we'll answer them. But John, you haven't played Ticket to Ride, right? Okay, great. Cool. Well, welcome to Ticket to Ride Europe. So, how to win is to get the most points. You get the most points by laying track and connecting destination tiles. So, these destination cards. So, these destination cards you're going to be taking, and you will score points if you make a destination. So, if you see over here, there it is. This one is Essen to Kiev. It's worth 10 points at the end of the game. If you have a train that goes from Essen all the way here to Kiev, you're going to get 10 points at the end of the game. However, if you have this card and it's incomplete, you'll lose that many points at the end of the game. Okay. Let's talk about how to set it up. Put the board out here. Make a offer pile of five train cards right over here. They're going to come in different colors. There's also wild card colors, and I'll get into what that is in a minute. You're going to take your tin of fun. So it's got nice little, and it's just what's in the deluxe edition. It'll come with 45 train cars. It'll come with 3 stations. And you're going to take your matching player marker and put it on 0. This is your score track. Okay. So you and I are both 0 right now. Congratulations. You're going to be blue for this demonstration, by the way.
That's fine.
What you're going to do is you're going to find specifically the destination cards that have this symbol on the bottom that says Europe. Okay. So you're going to get those, not the ones that say 1912. We'll get to what that is in a minute. Okay. Of those, 6 of them have like this reddish background. And then I believe there's 45 of these that have this like, kind of tan background. Okay. You're going to take the red ones. These are the long ones, the long distance ones. They're all like 20, 21 points. You're going to shuffle these, and you're going to give 1 out to each player. Okay. And these are kept secret. Okay. Then you're going to take these guys. You're going to take these remaining cards. You're going to shuffle these up. And you're going to deal 4 out to each player. 4 out. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 3 out. 2, 3. You're going to have 4 cards in total, 3 of which will be long, 1, and the rest will be this regular. The remaining long decks, once you deal those out, are going to go back into the game box. You don't need them anymore. The deck of regular size stream cards, destination cards, are going to go shuffled and set aside. You're going to be drawing from this deck later on throughout the game. Now, of these 4 cards, you need to keep at least 2 of them. Okay. And of these cards, only 1 will be the long distance. So you'll see right here I have the long distance 20, and then I have a 9, a 6, and an 8. Okay. What you're trying to do is you're trying to make connections through these for these different places. So if you have some cities that are matching or some regions that are matching in terms of distance, you may want to stick with those kinds of cards. You need to keep at least 2 of these, but you could keep all 4. Again, what you commit to is how many points you're going to get or lose at the end of the game if you connect. So once you made your decision, I'm going to hold on to these 2. Once you make your decision, any card you didn't use, go face down back in the box. And you're also going to deal, after that's done, you're going to deal from the top of this train engine deck, okay? You're going to deal 4 cards. So I got 4 for you, 4 for me. And they're going to come in different colors. So this is my hand right here. I have a blue card, a black, a white, and an orange. John isn't supposed to know that, but that's okay. So on your turn, you're going to do 1 of 4 different actions, okay? And it's going to go around the table. The game is going to end when one player has 2 or less train cards in their depot, okay? So you start out with 45 in your supply. When you're at 2, 1, or 0, that's it. It's going to trigger the end game. So what's going to happen is if, let's say, John had 2 trains, he would trigger the end game. I'd have 1 last turn, then John would have the final turn, and we do final scoring. Okay. So on your turn, one thing you can do is you could take train cards. Okay. You can lay down track. Okay. You could take additional destination cards, or you can build stations, which each player has 3 of these really nifty looking stations. They kind of look like chapels or something, right? So let's talk about each of these actions and what they do. We'll start with the very simple one of drawing cards from this pile, okay? So when drawing cards from these train cards, you're going to either draw from the face-up market, which there's 5 in the face-up market, or face down over here, okay? If you are drawing face down, you take that card and you put it secret into your hand. No problem. There's no hand limits, by the way, too. You could draw 2 from here or 2 from here, okay? Or you could do a mix and match. I could do 1 from the top and 1 from the market. So I did 1 from the top. I'll now do 1 from the market. As soon as you take 1 from the market, though, you automatically have to replenish it, okay? In this case, I took a pink one, and out came this rainbow one. This is a locomotive. Sorry, locomotion is a dance. So the locomotive, when you're taking that, if you're taking from this market, it's the only card you can take. So if I took this black card, I cannot take this guy. This would be my entire turn taking this. However, if the locomotive was directly on top and I took it on top, I don't need to divulge that information. Okay. The other thing to note too is that whenever there are 3 locomotives in the market, so let's just say that these 2 went away and I added this in. As soon as there are 3 or more locomotives in the market, the whole market gets discarded, and you draw 5 more. 1, 2, 3. So in this case, when 3 came out, you still have to finish doing it all. 4 and 5. We're still at 3. All this gets discarded, and then you go back to 5. If it ever comes to a case where you need to use when you need to draw engine cards from a deck that has nothing in it, you take everything from the discard pile, you shuffle it up, and put it right back into the draw pile. Okay. So the reason why you want these cards is because they correlate with different colors and symbols on the board. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to connect Frankfurt to Berlin over here, I would either need to use black train cars or red train cars. The number would be 3, okay? So I would need 3 black cards, which I do not have. However, I do have this wild card. So I can combine 2 black engine cards with 1 wild, and that will give me the sufficient amount to lay down my track. When you're laying down track, you must make a complete connection, okay? So I can't just place 2 of these and then just do 2. I have to commit to all 3, okay? So 1, 2, and 3. I played this. I discard these cards, and I score points. The points you score is you could have, there's this handy little sheet over here that shows you how much they translate to. So if I lay down one train token, it'll be 1. If I put 1 train card, it's 1 point. 2 train cards, it's 2 points. 3 train cards, which I did, is 4 points. So I'm going to score 4 points on this track, okay? And we're going to be scoring throughout the entire game. It's only the destination cards are counted at the very end of the game. So that was my second. That was the second possible action you can do to lay down tracks, trains on tracks. Some limitations about trains on tracks, though. When laying down on different colors, you have to use that color that's on there. However, you'll notice some of these are gray. When it's a gray one, you can use whatever color you'd like. However, they need to be the same color. So I can't just put 4 of any over here. I need to put like 4 reds or 4 greens, okay? And I would place that down there. I could use a combination too of locomotives as well as of just locomotives. And I could just do all 4 locomotives, but that'd be kind of a waste and silly move. But we do need to talk about these double train lines. So in a 2 and 3 player game, only 1 player can claim this connection. So Frankfurt to Berlin, because it's a 2-player game right now with me and John, I've claimed Frankfurt to Berlin right over here, so he cannot lay on this red line. If it was 4 or 5 players, he could lay on that red line. Okay? Then the other thing I need to point out too is some of these gray areas have this locomotive symbol on it. If it does have the locomotive on it, you need to make sure you have a locomotive in your hand when you're playing those cards. So if I were doing Essen to Copenhagen, notice it has 1 locomotive and all of it is gray. I would do one locomotive and 2 of these black ones, and that would count for that. I could also do all 3 locomotives. Notice that London to Amsterdam is just 2 locomotives. And all the way down here from Palermo to Smyrna, that is 2 locomotives plus 4 additional cards. Okay, so that's what that symbol means. The other symbol that's here that's nifty, and that locomotive rules it started in Ticket to Ride Europe. This other one over here, these outlined that have like these like ridges. These are called mountains. In this game, they're called mountains. So if I were to connect Zurich to Munich. I think Munich is somewhere else, but that might be Munich. I don't know. Probably Munich. So Zurich to Munich. If I'm connecting that right there, I need 2 yellow cards. Okay, so I'm gonna need 2, and I'm gonna need at least 2, and I'll show you why. As soon as you build into a mountain, right before you build, you reveal the top 3 cards of the deck. If any of them were that yellow color, okay, or if they were a wild, I would need to match that. And what I mean is, a better example would be, let's say it was Zurich to Marseille over here. Notice how there's 2 pinks, okay? So I played 2 pink cards. Now a 3rd pink card just came out from that draw. That means I need to spend an additional pink or wild card from my hand. If, however, let's say a wild card and a pink card and a red card came out, this wild will also count as pink. So that's the difference with the mountains. So now this 2-lane track is now going to cost me 4 cards. 1, 2 for the 2, then a 3rd, then a 4th for the wild. And doing that does it costs you more cards and doesn't give you those kinds of points. So it's not the number of cards you played gives you the points. It's the number of actual train pieces that you put down that give you points. All right. So that's what that is.
A very important question.
Yes.
How do trains run on water?
So that's a great question. These are actually in the game. They call them ferries.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's using locomotives. So
Okay.
yes, that is an excellent question.
I'm about to say trains don't do that usually.
No. The Kevin Costner expansion allows for that.
Okay.
The Water World. Yeah. So that's about laying trains. And again, laying trains, if you have more than 3 people, only one person can claim connection. The other thing too, you have the ferries, which are the locomotives, and you have to use locomotives. And then you have the mountains, and regardless of the size of the mountain, be it the 2, the 3, or even the 8 up here, you're always only drawing the top 3 cards from the draw deck. Okay, so those are the first main 2 actions of the game, and that's primarily what you're going to be doing in this game. Okay. However, there's 2 additional actions I'm going to go over. The third is drawing destination cards. Okay, so when drawing destination cards, if you think that you are good and want to just get some additional destination cards, draw 3 from the top of the deck and choose at least 1 to keep. You can keep all 3 if you want, but you choose at least 1. When you choose that one, it's going to stick with you, and any remaining are going to go shuffled and face down to the bottom of the destination deck. Okay, so that's what's going on right over there. Not only that, some good etiquette about this game. When doing that destination pull, it could take some players some time, and to speed up the time, if you're drawing destination cards, the next player can go as long as they're not laying down track. So if they're doing destination cards action, or if they are also drawing from this deck, you could just go ahead to that person, so you can speed up the game. Okay. Okay. So that is the third action of the game. And again, there's no limit to these. There's no hand limits in this game. The fourth action is building stations. Now, stations were these nifty guys, and they're pretty cool. So let's talk about what exactly they do. Ticket to Ride Europe has a very tight board. You'll notice right here, Edinburgh to London, for example, there's only one way to get there. So if you have destination cards with Edinburgh in it, it might be a problem if the opponent has London to Edinburgh already in play. So what could happen? So let's say that I had London to Edinburgh already, and John, you needed to get to Edinburgh. If you needed to do that, what you could do is you could lay down a station. So you take one of these train cards, and you discard it, and you just put it right onto the city you want to claim. Now, what's going on is that when we're counting destination tickets at the end of the game, you could use an opponent's track and count it towards points. Okay, so if I did London to Edinburgh and you had an Edinburgh destination card, this is a perfect time to do that. The first station you do is going to cost you 1 train card. The second you do is going to cost you 2 train cards, and the third one you do costs you 3 train cards. I would always recommend, if you don't need to play a station, don't do it, because any unplayed stations at the end of the game will give you 4 additional points. So you have essentially 12 points to start with in this game.
But it's easier to play a station if you're 1v1.
Yeah, you can definitely do, or even a 3-player game, because the limitations are right over here. Yeah. So in a 3 or 5-player game, you'll probably see stations more. You'll definitely see more opportunities for stations. So just keep that in mind with this game. That is all 4 actions. So again, those 4 actions were drawing cards either from the market or the top of the draw deck. They're going to be laying down track. Okay. They're going to be drawing destination tickets. And finally, it's going to be laying down these station tokens into particular cities. And those are the actions. Pretty straightforward game. Now let's talk about endgame scoring. So when it comes down to endgame scoring, what I usually like to do, and I encourage the table to do this, it's very easy at times, especially when you're first time playing, you might miss some trains. So in this example, I have 4 points right now, but clearly I have this guy right over here and this guy right here. I should have more than 4 points. So we like to go around the table and just make sure. We'll do player by player. So this guy is 7 points because it's 4 trains, and this guy is 4 points because it's 3 trains. Again, the chart is over here. So I should be at 11 points. I'm going to move myself up over here. Okay. At the end of the game, too, the player with the longest connected rail line is going to be awarded this handy European Express card. This card is really just for reference, but basically the longest continuous line is going to get 10 points. So I'm going to do a very easy breezy example. There's this guy right here. And I'll give you some points too.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I can't win them all. So let's just say it was like this.
Are those cars on there?
Yeah. So right, isn't that nifty? So the anniversary edition has like these really cool like old school cars on top. So let's just say this was the case. Okay.
Metal death traps.
Yeah.
No airbag. No seatbelt.
So let's talk about the player with the longest connected rail. So in this case, right, I have 4 and then 2. So that's 6 points right here. That's a 6 rail, right? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my longest rail is 6. I don't count this one, which is 3. I would count it if I were to connect to it, but I'm not connected to it. So this is a really dumbed down example. It's likely going to be larger considering you have 45 trains. Okay. Now for John, you have 1, 2, 3, and then in this direction it's 4, 5, but in this direction it's 4, 5, 6, 7. Because again, it's longest continuous track. So you don't count. You have to choose when you get to a fork which direction you want to go, and likely you want to go to the one with the longest number of trains. So in this case, that's 7 for you. So you would win that one, and you have 10 points. Congrats.
But that would be plus the amount I have.
Correct.
So I'd have more than I wouldn't be at 10. I'd be at
right. You'd be at 10 plus whatever else is in the game. Again, this is just a dumbed down example.
No, you just have to be up by 1 for me.
Yeah. Oh, right. And your station will be here, right?
Yeah.
So let's keep your station there up in London. So now it comes to counting those destination tickets, and if you did have one with Edinburgh, you could actually play that one and score those points. If you had one with Edinburgh and didn't have that station there, you couldn't count this.
I have one with London. Would London count?
So London was right here, but you would need to connect your other portion, which is Wayne right over here. So
which is
right, but you're not connected.
Oh, so, I thought.
So no, it's okay. So because you're not connected from London to Wayne, you're actually going to lose 10 points. Okay?
Oh.
Yeah, but don't worry. I didn't connect Roma to Smyrna because this is
there's no way I was connecting there.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, that's so when scoring your destination tickets, you're gonna do one at a time per player, and then once you're done adjusting the scores, you move on to the next player. After all of that is done, you'll score any unused stations, so 4 points per. And then the player with the most points wins. Pretty straightforward again.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's talk about how these nifty expansions work. And if you're like me and you saw some of these cards say big cities on them and the other one doesn't, when shuffling your deck, make sure to include the big cities one with the base ones, because the big cities ones are like a subset for a variant that I'm going to get into in a minute. So, if you want to play with the different variants and expansions, all you need to do is swap out the destination tickets for each one. Okay. So we'll start right now with just 1912. So in 1912, there's a separate set of destinations, as well as long distance ones and short distance ones, right? So same rules apply over here. You're going to shuffle the long ones, give each player 1, then shuffle the short ones and give each player 3. And of those 3, within those, you need to keep at least 2. Same rules, but just a different subset. So if you want different kinds of trains, you can do that. Now, if you want to combine both the original and the 1912 one and make what's called the Mega Europe mode, you would take all of the regular ones from both Europe and 1912, shuffle them together. You're going to take all the long distance ones from 1912 and original and shuffle those together. And at the beginning of the game, what you're going to do is you're going to deal out 2 long distance cards to each player. And of those 2, they could either keep 1 or 0. They can't keep both. Whatever cards they don't use get discarded and put back. Then, after doing those 2, you're going to draw, I think it was 5. Yes. Yeah, 5. No, 5? Yes, 3. Oh, man. 3. Sorry. I have my notes off screen. So you're going to do 2, and then 5 is correct. Yeah. So 5 regular tickets. So 2 long distance, 5 regular tickets. You start with the 2. After your 2, you move on to the 5, and then you need to have at least 3 tickets held, and that could include your long distance one. Okay, so if I decide to keep 1 long distance and I wanted to keep 2 short distance, I'm good. Okay. Now, if you want to play with what's called the Big Cities of Europe mode, and you might have seen this handy card over here that says Big Cities of Europe. This is just like a reference card to show you what are the big cities of Europe, if you're into that. But just know what's going to happen is those destination cards are going to have at least one of these locations. So it's London, Berlin, Moscow, Paris, Wayne, Madrid, Rome, Athens, and Angora. Okay. So you're going to shuffle all the cards that say big cities on them. That includes the ones from Europe and 1912. And you'll shuffle those all together, and then you will deal out 5. And the thing about this is that you don't use the long distance ones, okay? So it's more like the original Ticket to Ride, where there's no difference between the long distance and the short distance ones. You'll be dealing those out. You'll deal out 5, keep at least 2. The other difference about playing that Big Cities version, though, is that when you draw cards from the top of the destination deck, instead of drawing 3, you're going to draw 4. And the same rules apply, keep at least 1. Okay. You might have noticed, too, it came with some promo cards. There's the Orient Express. You could add this to any mode you want. It includes 5 regular short distance one and 1 long distance card. And then finally, if you really want to, you could add this guy. This is the Big Cities with Max card. You could add this to either mode. All it is just a connection from London to Copenhagen. That's it. And yeah, that is Ticket to Ride Europe. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in on the YouTube video, and I'll happily answer them in the comments. So yeah, and that's everything you need to know.
I just want a campaign for Ticket to Ride to do a Waterworld expansion.
Yeah.
Where it's just trains on water.
But yeah, I'm all for the Waterworld.
Or Mad Max one.
Mad Max.
Where you're searching for water.
That would be
so sweet. It's the polar opposite.
Yeah, and there's tons of Ticket to Rides. So
it has to happen. Yeah. We need more Waterworld games. We don't have any. Is there any?
Yes.
There's a Waterworld.
Sort of. There sort of is. without the actual license. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I will see you later.